Okay, here we go. Number 4. How many terms does number 4 have, guys?
2.
Has 2. So if you have 2 or 3 terms, what do? How do you factor this? GCF. There you go. What's the GCF between these two, Jared?
12xy.
12xy. Perfect. So if you take out a 12xy, what does that leave you with? Anybody?
3x minus 4y.
Perfect. Y'all okay with that one? All right, what about number 5? How many terms does number 5 have?
4.
4 terms. By grouping. Perfect. And make sure you leave that minus sign with that 12, okay? All right, what do the first 2 have in common? 2x. There you go. Which leaves you with 4a minus 3. All right, what about these 2? What do these 2 have in common? Oh, careful. Negative 3. There you go. Which leaves you with 4a minus 3. How do you know you did it right?
Because they have to equal each other. Or exactly the same.
Very good. Or you could redistribute. Yes, very good. But the main thing is, because when you redistribute, you may not have the biggest one taken out. So make sure that these equal. That way you know you took the biggest one out of all 3 of them. Who is it? Who? You got to make sure he's okay with you being in here first, though. You can't just be in here. So go wait on him, and when he says that you're good, then you come back in here, okay? Are y'all okay with that? Everybody got a new math work? Start working on with us? All right, what about number 7? How many terms does number 7 have? 3. So what do you do when you have 3 terms?
You factor out the GCF.
GCF. Very good. What's the GCF on number 7?
A.
A.
A plus 5.
Perfect. All right, number 8. What about number 8? How many terms does that one have?
4.
4. So what do you do when you have 4 terms?
Grouping.
Grouping. Very good. All right, the first 2, what do they have in common?
X.
Yeah? Look at y'all. Yeah?
And then 2.
Careful. Positive 2. And then x plus 4. You have to put that plus sign with that 2, okay? All right, so then you know you did it right because your parentheses are the same. There you go. All right, what about number 9? How many terms does number 9 have?
3.
3. If you have 2 or 3, you do GCF. Very good. Which in this case is how much? Perfect. Plus 12. Very good. Very good. All right, last one, number 10. How many terms does it have? 4. So what do we use? Grouping. And make sure you leave that negative sign with that 15, okay? All right, what do the first 2 have in common? 2x. Very good. Yeah? All right, what for the next 2? Oh, careful. Negative 3. Put your phone up, please. And what do you get left?
5x minus 7. Y.
There you go. Very good. And then you know you did it right because those 2 are the same.
2x minus 3.
There you go. Y'all okay? All right, here we go. We are about to do the last lesson of the quarter. Can I believe the quarter's almost over? Almost over. All right, so we are on page 19 and 20. We're going to do 5 whole problems. 3 of them we're going to do together. 2 of them you're going to do with your partners. And then we're going to start your study guides. We're going to do study guides all day tomorrow. And then test on Thursday. And I do have your quizzes to hand back to you today. Alright, and I'm going to use probably 3 different colors, so if you've got those, you might want to use those as well. I use colors because I'm visual. That's how I learn. And most of you learn the same way, so you might want to grab some different colors. All right, here we go. So when we graph, what has to happen before we can graph something? Y has to be by itself. So it's the same thing. Even though these have inequalities, we're still doing the same exact thing. So if you get y by itself first, so to do that, we're going to subtract x. And we get y is greater than or equal to negative x plus 4. And then we're going to go up 4 for our y-intercept. Page 19 in your notes. And then we're going to go down 1 and right 1. All the way across. When we first started this stuff, we had graphing, just like this. But the difference was we had an equal sign. Here we have a greater than or equal than sign. So the only two differences is that you either, one, have a dotted line or a solid line, and two is that you have to shade this. So it's going to be a solid line.
Everything upwards.
Very good. It says y greater than. Y's go up and down, so your y's get greater as you go up. Don't shade too dark, though, because you have a whole nother one we have to do. Don't shade too dark. All right, so we have 2x minus y is greater than 2. We have to solve that one. Yes, ma'am. What? Yes, ma'am. All right, so we're going to subtract the 2x. But when we do that, we have a negative y. That's what?
You divide by negative 1.
Yep, you're going to divide by negative 1. And guys, what happens to the inequality?
It flips.
Yeah. So now we're going to go down 2 for our y-intercept. And our slope is 2 over 1, so we're going to go up 2 and right 1. Or we can go the other way, down 2 and left 1. And Savannah did tell us it's a dotted line. All right, and it's y less than. Where do your y's get smaller? Above or below that line? Below. So everything below that purple line or whatever line that you did, okay? All right, now, the very first thing that we learned how to do was graph, right? And we were concerned with where those graphs crossed. So you would tell me that your point was 3, 2, correct? But we're not worried about that with inequalities. We're not worried about where the lines cross with inequalities. We're worried about where the shading crosses with inequalities, okay? So we are worried about this piece right here. That's why we had a third color. Or just take your pencil and shade this part really, really dark, because this is the part that I'm looking for on your test. It's just where they cross. All right, so our very first learning target was I can solve systems of equations by graphing, okay? This is not an equation. This is not an equation. This is an inequality. So if it's an equation, we're worried about where the lines cross. If it's an inequality, we're worried about where the shading crosses. Are y'all okay between the differences for your test on Thursday? All right, let's do these next two together. What about number 2? In order to graph it, what has to happen first?
Y has to be by itself.
There you go. Say that again. You would divide by 3? Yep. Hey, I got it. Come here. I figured you'd come back eventually. There you go. All right, so we're going to go up 1 for our y-intercept. And then we go down 1 and right 3. Yep. Or we could go up 1 and left 3. Now, because it has this less than sign, what kind of line does it get? A dotted. Very good. And because it has a less than, we have to shade. Where does the less than shade? Down. Very good. Not too dark, though, because you still have to shade another one. Don't shade it too dark. All right, then we have another one we have to solve, because we have a system of inequalities. So we're going to subtract the x. What happens when I divide by that -2, guys? What flips? There you go. The inequality sign flips. And we get a positive 1/2 minus 2. All right, so we're going to go down 2 for our y-intercept. And then our slope is up 1 and right 2. And then you're like, oh no, it doesn't cross right at a point. But that's okay, because I'm not worried about that for inequalities. What am I worried about for inequalities? Where the shading crosses. Very good. All right, so it says y less than, so we're going to shade everything below that purple line. But the only thing I'm worried about is where the shading crosses, which is this funky looking triangle down here at the bottom. All right, last one, number 3, guys, and then we're going to work with our partners, okay? All right, number 3. So look at this guy right here. It says y less than or equal to 1. How in the world do I graph that?
You have 0. So, is it x 0?
It's just, it's going to say, take.
What kind of straight line? Horizontal. Dotted line or solid line? Solid. Remember, you have your graphing calculator. If you ever get confused, you can plug in y equals 1 and see what kind of line it is, okay? If you ever get confused. All right, where's that one shaped? Down. Very good. Don't do it too dark, though. All right, now what about this guy? X greater than 1. That's the vertical one at 2, right? Is it dotted or is it solid? It's dotted. Now, since it says X greater than, where do your X's get bigger? To the right. Look at y'all. Y'all so smart. Now, if it's an equation, the very first thing that we learn, we're worried about where the lines cross with an equation. But this is not an equation, so we're worried about where the shading crosses here, which is right here at the almost the whole 4th quadrant and a teeny bitty bit of the 1st quadrant. Y'all okay? All right, do you see your partner? You looking at him? You find him? Everybody got him? Giving them crazy eyes? Okay? All right, flip over to the next page. You and your partner, you have 2 problems on the next page that you and your partner need to do, and go. Danielle, I kept wondering, I'm like, what is that smell? Then I realized it's the hot glue gun.
I was like, look at burning and everything.
No, it's not hot glue gun, it's just heating up. So I can put that stuff back on the wall.
Sure, I had a question on the.
What number?
Like, but this one is fluctuating. It's like between the front six.
Oh, okay. 2 comes because that's the biggest number that goes into both those terms. The plus sign comes because it's the sign in front of the first term of those 2.
Alright.
Missing. Yeah, see how this is the minus sign? That's what we got over. Plus sign. Next. What are we concerned about? No, if they're both negative, that makes 2 negatives. That makes positive. So you get to pick this one negative basis. So you can either go with a 3, which will tell you to go down 3, or it can go with a 4, which will tell you to go left 4. This hot glue gun smells. Hurry. Okay, on number 4, did y'all get that as your graph? Yay, wonderful. But do not skip it and go to number 5 because you're not done yet. It's what? No solution. Because the whole point is where you're looking to where the shading crosses, and if the shading never, ever, ever is going to cross, there's nothing that you can ever plug into X and Y that'll satisfy that. All right, you'll go on to number 5. Try number 5. Okay. All right, you ready to take your test? Okay. bring it to me. I didn't realize that. No. This is not right. I can't see at the beginning. Okay, we okay so far on equations or inequalities, should I say? Anybody have any issues with the two inequalities that we got? Okay, let's graph the easy one first. We're going to graph this one. We're going to go down 3, and then our slope is down 1 and right 4. Or up 1 and left 4. Are you okay with that? Alright, and then that one shades above. Okay, what about this guy? Where's my y-intercept here? At a half. A half is between 0 and 1, right? Now, you got to be careful, because when you go up 3, you have to be between those lines each time. And then right 2 is also between those lines. So every point is going to be in the halves. And then we've got to go the other way, but the same thing. You've got to be in the middle. And that one shades above. Okay, when you have an inequality, you're not worried about where they cross, where the lines cross. What are you worried about? Where the shading crosses, which is this little thingamabobber right here. Y'all okay? Anybody have an issue? Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and get a jump start on our study guides. We're with our partners already. Study guides are always where? In the back of your notes. There you go. So if you just flip over one page. Alright, here we go. This is graphing equations. When you're graphing equations on 1 through 4, what has to happen first before you can graph them? Have to get y by itself. And then when you graph them, what are you concerned about when you're graphing them? Where the lines cross. If they cross, what did we call them? And independent. And then you got to give me the point where they cross, right? What if they were two parallel lines?
They're inconsistent.
They are inconsistent. What if they came out to be the exact same line?
They're consistent and dependent.
And dependent. Perfect. Y'all okay? Alright, so you go ahead and start working with your partner. The key for all of these is already on Google Classroom for you. And it's just the answer. It's not any work, because the answer is just to help you make sure you're okay. Y'all good? Got your partner? Y'all working? Test on Thursday. Alright, Mina, you got your test, Bobby? Mina? Yes.